Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, sure appreciate you stopping in. This morning, over some coffee talk here, guys, and nursing a sore back here, so you have to work with me. We are going to talk what I like to just, I don't know, over the years, I've just kind of labeled it deerpression, right? The depression time for a lot of folks this time of the year, I think has a lot tied to that, right? But it has set in a lot over, folks that start reaching out that are looking to have, take advantage of our services or asking, what can I do? What should I not do? How do we wrap up the end of the season? What we're going to talk about today, that fourth quarter strategy. I think it all starts to get very real this time of the year, right? So this morning, like I said, over some coffee here, we're going to take a minute and dissect this top to bottom with each other and see what we can do to salvage the rest of the season for you. So first and foremost, guys, I think that deerpression, that depression, right, deerpression that I speak of, is something that I try to help folks with each and every year. This time of the year, so one of the top topics, if you will, right? This time of the year, I start seeing that these, you've all heard that slogan, right? How does that go? Don't pass up a deer the first day that you would pass on the last day. That all of a sudden comes true. You know, we go into the season sometimes, right, with a full head of steam, if you will, and we get, all of our work and summer strategies, and if it's a new property, sometimes new lease, all this ties into it, right? We live all year to have that 90-day season, if you will, sometimes more than 90 days. We get to that point where all of a sudden, like I said, all of this becomes real, right? It sets in. I think a lot of that has to do with, just the holidays, whether you're a single guy like myself or, family stress. Holidays are not supposed to be stressful. It's supposed to be a special, special time of the year. And we're trying to manage life and then also take advantage of those last few hours and days of deer hunting, right? The pro of that is this, guys. There are more deer. You've heard me say this before. There are more big deer shot this time of the year, and more success stories that finally come to an end. And does it mean a little more if you got to work a little harder for it? Well, maybe, maybe not. I'm just as proud of a buck that I kill in September sometimes as a buck that I have to, work, until January to kill, right? With that being said, I think that alone should help a lot of you get to a lot of us, right? Get to the finish line. Just knowing that there's so much good to the season, right? This fourth quarter that we speak of, guys, it's such an overlooked hunt. It really is. And I get why, right? Our tank is creeping up on E, right? And that fourth quarter, Hail Mary strategies start playing in, and what do I need to do? What do I need to accomplish? Some states are down to, what would it be, 2 weeks left, right? Here in Kentucky, we run to the middle of January. I'm not sure what the exact date is this year, 17th, 19th, something like that. So it stretches the opportunity out a little more, but, then you got to take into consideration early shed bucks and all that stuff, right? But with that being said, guys, I believe that the late season can be just as good or better than early season as far as picking and choosing those hunts, regaining some strategy or regaining some fuel in your tank, not hunting mornings. We're going to touch on that real quick, but not hunting mornings as much, gearing up for these evening hunts. And if you have some stuff that you have to do, picking and choosing, 3 good days a week, two good days a week, something like that. and letting the weather, right, dictate where you're at and or where when you're going to hunt. And I don't, it doesn't really matter to me where you're at in the country listening to this from. When I say weather, that could be the Midwest and a big front as far as a storm coming in. It could be snow related up north, probably is snow related, cold drops and temps, or it could be the southeast, right? That it's just a weather change, a big, this time of the year, maybe you do get some sleet down there, but maybe you're getting fog, and maybe you're getting a bunch of rain, or you're getting just some high winds, or whatever the case is, that keeps deer off their feet, and then so feeding before heavy and feeding after because they're missing feedings, right? Green feedings, not browse feedings, but green and grains, right? So recharge, right, is probably the number one thing I can help you with. Recharge, enjoy the process, and really take advantage of this time of the year. A strategy for the fourth quarter would be don't throw the Hail Mary. If you know, and I can't say that my strategy or my stuff I put here online, or I don't ever encourage the Hail Mary really at all, because to me, when I say Hail Mary, a lot of folks will say, hey, if I lock myself in this box blind on the wrong wind and I try to get this accomplished, what should I do? Should I attempt that? And the answer is no, right? The answer is focus on these food sources, being out closer to them, but still be able to get away from those evening food sources. I would say that probably the biggest fail that I see that's related to that fourth quarter, right, is going back and sitting on top of these, just saying, screw it, I'm done, I'm wore out. Put that corn pile out or sit on top of that feeder and you just bank out on there. Well, guys, here is the truth. If there, and you know my feelings about sitting on top of the food plots and or sitting on top of the feeders, not that it can't be done, but it has to be a very, very, very special situation that you have to be able to get away from that at dark, or at night. Just because it's dark doesn't mean that you're not getting busted and you're not blowing that food source. Here's the raw truth about this time of the year. I wouldn't encourage it early season, and I wouldn't ever use that. Like I said, guys, if you hunted my farm, and you've heard me say this before, if you hunted my farm with a bow, you would never know that there's a feeder on the farm, right? You can't see them, right? You don't go past them getting to them. You don't go past them getting out of the farm. You would never know that they're here, right? They're a big piece of the puzzle because we're able to do that, and it's tonnage to back up food plots, but we don't hunt over top of them. And that strategy doesn't change even in the fourth quarter. And the reason is, now with a gun, we can touch those. This weekend's a perfect example. We got the late muzzleloader season coming in. We're going to be sitting, my boy is probably going to be sitting in, after a couple of the, bucks left that are roaming around. Cold temps are coming in, but when he's sitting in those blinds, right, he's going to be looking at more than just a feeder. Never look out the front window to a feeder or a field. You should, if that is what's happening, you should never be looking out that front window, because if you're not, I always tell folks is just by tweaking that, it means to me, or it makes sense that you're looking at so much more. Maybe you're looking at a saddle, maybe you're looking at a water hole, and the food plot and that feeder is just a backup plan. What if he makes it there? What if this time of the year, like we're going to talk, right? What if this time of the year he follows one of those young does out there and gets himself in trouble? So that is my strategy for you. I like I said, guys, probably the biggest caution, right, is you don't have any room for mistakes. You just don't. If you blow that food source off right now, you might as well just hang it up for the year, right? And I'm not trying to take anybody's remaining air wind out of your sails. but it's the God's honest truth. You have to be stealthy. That's why morning hunts, the second rut, when and I hate the term second rut, but the second huntable rut that we've got here, right, um, is, yes, it opens the door for morning hunts. But if you took no matter where you're at in the country, when that second rut comes available, if you took a average of the movement, you're gonna see way better chances in the evening, because those younger does or those does that didn't get bred 28 days ago, right, during what's deemed the first rut, the first huntable rut, right, they're going to be the first ones out to the fields. That's what makes this time so powerful, right? So you don't hear. I'm gonna educate you on something here real quick. Going into the second rut strategy, how often do you hear of the rut lockdown when we're talking about the second rut? Not very much, right? The reason for that is these bucks not only follow right now, right? They're following these last remaining does, and the does that didn't get bred, and these young, doe fawns that have reached 60, 70 pounds, 6 months of age. They are the first ones usually to the fields. So not only are they in this seek, follow, kind of a cleanup mode, if you will, right? What you're also seeing is food. The older this buck gets, guys, the more important food. And after that first rut, 30% body weight, he's trying to regain, no matter where you're at in the country, but especially from the Midwest North, he's trying to gain that body weight back. He knows he's got to stock up on food going into the late season, or he might not come out of the winter, right? So it's very important to them. So now, unlike what you had in the first huntable rut, right, or early season, now you've got everything working for you. That's what makes this time of the year so powerful. But one bad decision, one bad morning entrance that you blow deer out. Even more important, clearing a field, trying to get away from a corn pile or a feeder. You don't have the time. In most cases, you don't have the time to recover. So slow down, gather your thoughts, be very strategic, watch what's coming. And when I say hunt the fronts, it doesn't have to be snow. It doesn't have to be, a 20-degree temp drop. It might be just weather related. Look at these fronts. Look at something that would trigger you to get up on your feet, or keep you off the road from going to work, or going to the grocery store or whatever. And then as soon as the weather breaks, you look at the highway, right? When the weather's good, people are moving. Weather's bad, they're not, right? They're thinking ahead. Try to really strategize that, right? And the last thing we'll touch on here, guys, is this. I'm going to do a video dissecting this, but I don't think a lot of folks understand the mentality of a mature buck this time of the year, right? Very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable. And we won't go into great detail. We'll save that for a separate video, because there's a lot of stuff I'd like to tie to that for you. But these mature bucks, guys, are easier to kill, easier to harvest, easier to wrap your tag around this time of the year, and a lot of times any time of the year, than a lot of people think. Use that to your advantage. Slow down and put the game in your favor this time of the year, and a lot of good sits coming ahead. The one we'll close on is this, guys. I really want folks to start thinking ahead, right? When you're in the stands this time of the year, look at bedding areas. If you can see into those from afar, really start studying how good is your bedding. How far are your does? Are your does not coming out until, maybe the gun season pressure has relaxed, not a lot of people in the woods, and your does still aren't making it to your food plots until 10 minutes before dark? What that tells you is maybe they're coming from too far away. Start putting this mindset of wrapping your head around, okay, what can I do next year? Next year's success, guys, starts right now. Thanks, guys. We look forward to the next videos coming ahead. Happy holidays. I know everybody's geared up for that, and let's all stay positive and get you to the finish line.